You are doing a good job watching. Our posts are very straight. So we're putting on the horizontal rails today. And we're not going to do anything super special. A simple top rail, bottom rail, and a middle rail. Only we're going to experiment a little bit. And by experiment, I mean most of the times you would have the rails, the joints break on a post. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to use the Craig jig and make pocket holes. And normally someone wouldn't do that because, you know, a fence has a lot of joints and you could put a fence together rather quickly, traditional way. But I'm going to use full length lumber and just use pocket holes for the joints and see what happens. If it gets absolutely boring or difficult for any reason, I can go back to the old method. But for now, I think it'll work, because if this level were a picket, I'm standing too close with the camera, but going down, it would hold this horizontal board from popping out this, from going up and down. We only have to worry about our joint popping out this way or this way, and I think it's not going to happen. So the wood we're using today was given to me free. It was never used before, and it was sitting in someone's yard for many years. It's all pressure treated, but it doesn't look the best. There's one of the boards now. I'm going to use the most crooked, twisted pieces on the bottom rail, and we're going to set them up 3.5 inches off here. What I'm doing is I'm going 3.5 inches off the ground, and then our first rail is going to start, and I'm going to go ahead and put them on using the string. And again, I don't expect the bottom rails to be perfect. They can misbehave a little bit, but because they're closer to the ground, we can actually use the ground to brace them, twist them. Wood doesn't have a memory, so if I push out on one and drive a stake in the ground, in a few weeks it'll stay there. And then the upper rails, the center and upper rails, we'll make them the straight ones. And of course, when our pickets join the group, the rails aren't going to go up and down at all. And we'll see how it works. As far as experimenting, last time we were putting the posts in just dirt, no concrete. And I'm shaking it a little bit. It's firmed up. I added water, and then it's rained at least one time. And the posts, if I wanted to adjust them, can you see that? I could still pretty easily push them around. So because there's no concrete, they're allowed to move a little tiny bit. But I think with time, that soil is going to toughen up, and our fence will stand just fine. Better than the old one, right? Let me put the first rail on. So here's what it looks like when you put the pocket holes in the end of the 2x4s. I'm using my old log workbench. Can you see it? And basically, with this jig, I'm enjoying this. See if I can do this one-handed. I just simply sorry about that. I was watching what I was doing and didn't realize you were in the shade. So it gave us two pocket holes. So our screws will come in on this angle. They'll come out something like that. It should work. Doesn't matter. This screw, I had a bunch of these for free. It's actually a decking screw. See the difference in the threads here? So this is more of a grip, and this will spin out if necessary, and that'll hold the deck down, decking board down. Take a look. That's pressure treated, as is this. And the treatment doesn't really soak into these boards the way you would think. They're pressure treated, and what pressure they treated them at, I don't know, but that treatment is only on the circumference of a rectangle, right? But you know what I mean, on the outer part of the board. That's why they say if you cut one of these, that's not guaranteed that that cut is susceptible to rotting. But I believe that no one worries about that. Now where the line is, and I'm talking about the pencil lines, we've put a nail on each post. And the string is underneath that line, so the string won't get in the way. String isn't going to be used for a second. And then each post is double checked so that they are level. And remember, the way to check a level, you can use any level, even one that's crooked. If it showed like that, and then this way, you would know it'd be wrong, but the middle between the two would be correct. Anyway, I'll save that for another day. So our nails are set on the lines that we made, and the string isn't being used right this second, so the boards are going to sit on top of the nails, and that'll hold it. It's just me, so it's easier even if there were two people to do it that way. I'm putting the second course on. This is going to be the top rail, and although they're kind of ugly looking because they're coming out of the, an old wood pile, these are the straighter boards. I want them on the top. It'll be easier to work with. And the ugly side is facing us because the pickets are going to go onto this side. What I do here is I lay the boards on top, and I scribe on both sides. The reason being is you don't want to use a level here. Your posts are level, and you don't want to be leveling each one. You want to go by those lines I just made. Here's the theory. I used to build sun decks. One of my least favorite things, and it was funny because myself and one other person noticed that after years of building sun decks, no one ever invited us out on a sun deck. We didn't have one of our own. But let's say your sun deck is, let's say your sun deck goes like this. So here's your deck. And here's your house. Sliding glass door. We used to put the sliding glass doors in too. That was an all-day job. And the funny thing is, it cost about $500 to do it then. I can only imagine what it would cost now. Anyway, so say your deck has posts, and they're here. And then you have posts over here. Okay. Now, this is confusing to you because that deck is a little taller, or the band board is a little taller. This is your decking. Gotta make it on an angle. Here's a nice plant. All right. So this measurement is fixed. That's kind of where we are, even though this isn't a deck, it's a fence. These are fixed. So this measurement and this measurement, they have to be the same. So there's no sense leveling all of these. You just put a railing here, and that's in essence what we already have. Then we lay another railing on top of that, and we can mark it, and then we raise it up. So this railing would go up to here, and it has to be level because you followed these marks that you made here transfer up to here. The only difference is, say this is your house, right? This is your house. There's a code, you have to have a light over there. So this is your house. Say your house was built crooked. So here's the deck, here's the posts, sorry, the beams that hold the deck on, and here's the house. And say the house was built crooked. Well, you know this has to be level. In the house, let's say it goes at this angle. You check it with a level, and you make an adjustment. This top rail is plus a ½ inch or minus a ½ inch. You factor that in. But once you've factored that in, and a lot of times you cut this top board at an angle to meet the siding. Same thing applies here. You lay that down, you mark these points, you transfer them up. I should draw that a little better. Ah, look at that. Yummy! So our fence is doing this, and our posts are all level. And then we have our first board on. I laid the second one on, I just showed you. I'm gonna mark that board here, here, and here, and this distance isn't gonna change. If this post were on an angle going this way, you would pull it back over to level. Follow my drift? Hope so. This is a system I came up with many years ago, and it's never failed me. That's what our fence is gonna look like. Easier said than done. So I take the string, after the nail is set, I put it underneath so it won't get in the way. And then I can lift these boards up here by myself, and they're sitting on these nails. So the nail is where the string was. And I don't have to worry about trying to coordinate if it's flush on the end or not. I just go towards the middle, and I find my pencil lines. They're right here. See it right there? See, it's kind of showing. It's easy with two hands. So I'll make this joint here. And once that's sitting tight, I'll go over to that corner post, and I'll bring the post into the pencil lines. And then I'll come over here and I'll do the same. And now this distance at the top and this distance at the bottom are identical. This distance at the top and this distance at the bottom are identical. So all of these posts are being kept parallel. It's a better way of saying it. So if you level one, they should all be on the level. Alright, I'll tighten this up, bring you right back. This is actually moving along very quickly. What slows me down are phone calls. Last one was 24 minutes. And then there was one before that, and another before that one, and then there were some few texts. What's best about the text is that's someone texting about how they're not going to do what they said they were going to do. That's always additional wasted time. If you got to count the first text when you were talking and making plans, now this series of texts where they're canceling their plans. But it's all okay. At the time, it's very hard to find labor, so I will just do things myself. We'll be patient. We'll get things done. Alright, so you can see how I'm using that lower rail as a work surface. And I got something spun around right there. So we're going to put this first board up. And I can do this one-handed. This thing's heavy. It's still got the, ow, that's my foot. It's still got the squirrels in it. It's full of water. So that nail will hold us there. This nail will hold us here. And again, I made marks. Now, here I don't really need the marks, but I've got them. Really just so I can show you again what I was doing. I wonder if the camera caught that. Right, because that's fastened and that's fastened. So that post, being 4-inch oak, is not moving anywhere. But still, if I had an exact cut on that end, I don't have to be down there to see it. I can just use these marks here. It takes seconds to put those marks on there, and it keeps your focus. All right, let me screw this one on, and then we'll add that one. I give this a 50-50 shot. Ah, didn't get that one. Alright, what do you think? This one? 50-50, no better. Here we go. That one's a win, but it'd be a lot easier using two hands. And then this. This should work pretty easily. Go like that. And like a dot. And then where's our board? Here, board, 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 board. Here, board. I lost it. Oh, it's right there. Where am I looking? So one little hang up here is I gotta get to there. Looks like I'm gonna need two hands for this. I could use a clamp, but where am I pointing? You get the idea. Unlikely to work. Kind of worked. Gotta fix this. That might work. So it's starting to look like something. I'm tempted not to bore you with the putting on the pickets. I want to call them balusters, but balusters are for stair railings. I guess they're pickets. It's pretty wide though. But putting on the wide pickets, I ended up putting all the joints here. If I have any troubles, this one board, picket board, will be screwed on and I can just separate it and get to that joint. I don't expect any troubles because that rail can't fall, can't go up. Neither can this one or that one. The only thing the fence could do is, or one of those horizontal boards could do, is like banana out somewhere, but I don't see that happening either, and technically from the other side I'll have access. So anyway, I did line up all the joints on purpose, and for the record, they're not lined up to the millimeter. They just landed close, so that's good enough. So I might bring you back when the fence is looking more like a fence, or maybe when I'm putting the first few pickets on, but I won't bore you with the whole thing, and I won't do a time lapse because it's too much fence. The idea here was to, because my posts are in equal spacing that doesn't work with 12-foot material or 14-foot material or 16-foot material, and because there's a lumber shortage, and because all this lumber came to me for free, I prefer to try this method so I don't have any waste, and we'll see how it goes. I have to say that I'm pretty pleased with this system. It went up very quickly, and had it not been for the oak posts, I wouldn't have had to pre-drill. If I was just working with pressure treated pine, I could just screw right into it, but I'm pre-drilling. That oak is very unforgiving. There's a few screws in there that didn't seat all the way, but that's okay. You're looking at all the wood has been given to me for free, and unless of course the posts, we made those on the mill. But this is pretty neat. I like it. I'd have to say that this is going to work out very well. No concrete on the posts, and I think the older wood, when it dries a little more, rather it is dried out, but when it's been wet from the rains, I think I'll pressure wash it and stain it, and from the street it'll look very presentable. People walk by and they'll say, "Now that's how you build an airplane."